After reflecting on what I discussed in part 1, I realized one thing is that Netflix is really humanizing the employee to grow and have a long life learning philosophy. It's probably because Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, is more as an educator instead of a CEO or corporate company leader. Well, this is true, by the way. Looking at his background, he once taught at a high school teaching math around 800 students in Swaziland, Africa. He was a former member of the California State Board of Education. So looking at this, he has infused many educational value inside Netflix's company culture. From my point of view, this company looks like more as an educational institute instead of corporate company. Now, in the first part, I discussed the first 3 steps in having a freedom and responsibility culture in Netflix. Build up talent density, introduce candor, and remove control. Now, in part 2, I'm going to share how does Netflix strengthen the talent density, how Netflix increase candor, and how Netflix release more controls to their employees. In most companies or organizations, there are some high-performing employees and some just okay ones. At Netflix, everyone is high performer. When you go into the meetings, it is like the talent and the brain power could generate the office electricity. People are challenging one another, building up arguments, and each of them is practically smarter than Stephen Hawking. It is this high talent density at Netflix that drives the Netflix engine to success. The rockstar principle, that's what they call it. The choice they had was to hire 10 to 15 average engineers or hire one rockstar and pay higher than what others are paid. Netflix attempted to divide the jobs into operational and creative roles. For operational roles, you may get 2 times improvement in the best person versus the average person. For operational roles, you can pay an average salary and the company will do very well. Now, Netflix believed that all creative jobs, they would pay one incredible employee top of his or her personal market. Now, talent density is increased by paying people high salaries and increasing them over time to assure they remain top of the market. Pay top of the market seems to be the motto of Netflix. They do a lot of research among competitors and give raises based on it. Now, if the market value for an employee shifts because of skill set increase or a shortage of talent in the field, the salary goes up along with it. Now, secrets, which could involve violation of trust, a lie, financial scams, hidden relationship, and etc., takes a psychological toll in terms of stress, anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Now, when secrets are shared, the trust, confidence, and loyalty in the receiver goes up many times. There is no better way to build trust quickly than to shine a light directly on the secret. Now, Netflix believes any locked area is symbolic of hidden things and shows we don't trust each other. They believe in shining the secret. With transparency being the key, they wanted employees not to feel like they are working for Netflix, but to feel like they are part of Netflix. The goal was to make employees feel like the owner, like the CEO, and in turn to increase the amount of responsibility they took for the company's success. This trust generates feelings of ownership, commitment, and responsibility. Now, transparency is taken to such heights that information such as sharing of quarterly financial data to employees before making them public, or possible organizational restructuring or communication related to terminating an employee, for example, and etc., are all out in the open. They talk of whisper wins and shout mistakes. Before making financially sensitive presentations, they put up a slide saying, "You go to jail if you trade on this," or "Your friend does, confidential, do not share." Shining on mistakes, be it even a leader, encourages everyone to think that making mistakes is normal. This encourages employees to take risks when success is uncertain and leads to greater innovation in the company. Now, self-disclosure builds trust. Seeking helps boost learning. Admitting mistakes fosters forgiveness, and broadcasting failures encourages people to act bravely. No decision-making approvals needed. Now, in most companies, the boss is there to approve or block the decision of employees. Now, this is a surefire to limit innovation and slow down growth. Don't seek to please your boss, seek to do what is best for the company. Now, this is one of the motto of Netflix. Now, Netflix strives to develop good decision making. everywhere in the company, and they pride on the fact that senior management is involved in making only a few decisions. Dispersed decision making can only work with high talent density and high amounts of organizational hierarchy. People desire and thrive on jobs that give them control over their own decisions. The more people are given control over their own projects, the more ownership they feel, and the more motivated they are to do their best work. Employees do not need boss's approval to move forward. If an employee comes up with a proposal, the boss asks himself or her these 4 questions. Is she a stunning employee? Do you believe that she has good judgment? Do you think she has the ability to make a positive impact? Is he or she good enough to be in your team? If your answer is no to any of these questions, you should get rid of the employee. If your employees are excellent and you give them the freedom to implement right ideas they believe in, innovation will happen. They believe since they are in a creative market, their big threat in the long run is not making a mistake, it is lack of innovation.
So at Netflix, we have a strong culture of experimentation, which means that all of our product changes are tested.
Experimentation is about enabling faster decisions and better decisions, and it's the driving force behind the pace of our innovations. Netflix is one of the rare companies that has the infrastructure, scale, and agility to advance experimental methods and be a pioneer in this field.
If we want to answer a question, we're going to run an experiment. We're going to gather that clean data. Through that process, we'll be able to get the best information we can to make the best decision possible.
Now, in order to encourage employees to shift their mindset in the direction of experimentation, they use the image of placing bets. This motivated employee to think of themselves as entrepreneur. While placing bets, some bets would succeed, some would fail. The performance would be judged by not whether an individual bet failed, but the overall ability to use the chips to move the business forward. Now, in Netflix's innovation cycle, it talks about the 4 steps. Farm for dissent or socialize the idea. For a big idea, test it out. As the informed captain, make your bet. If it succeeds, celebrate. If it fails, sunshine it. It is disloyal to Netflix when you disagree with an idea and do not express the disagreement. By withholding your opinion, you are implicitly choosing not to help the company. Farming for dissent or socializing the idea is about actively seeking out different perspectives before making any major decision. Different opinions could be through comments on a document or rating the idea on a scale -10 to +10 on a spreadsheet. The more you actively farm for dissent or socializing the idea, the more you encourage a culture of expressing disagreement openly, the better decisions that will be made in the company. On the other hand, socializing an idea is about trying to give different perspectives. By socializing the idea with peers and other leaders, the emphasis less on dissent and more on farming. Most successful companies run all sorts of tests in order to find out how and why customers behave the way they do, and the results of the tests usually influence corporate strategy. At Netflix, getting it perfect does not matter. What matters is moving quickly and learning from what you are doing. Now, Netflix believed in celebrating it. For projects, ideas that don't succeed, they had 3-part response. Ask what learning came from the project, be candid about your failed bets, and talk about the learning. Don't make a big deal about it. When a bet fails, the manager must be careful to express interest in the takeaways, but no condemnation. Nobody will scream and nobody will lose the job. Sunshine the failure. They believed when you sunshine your failed bets, everyone wins. It is about learning and talking about responsibly for your actions. To survive a big mistake, you must lean all the more into the sunshine. Talk openly about it. You will be forgiven. But if you brush your mistakes under the rug and keep making mistakes, the end result will be much more serious. So that is the end of part 2. What we can learn from part 2 is that to ensure high performers are highly appreciated in your company, pay them a significant amount of salary based on the top of the market. Be transparent with all the information of the company. Make employees feel like the CEO. No decision-making approvals needed. All employees have the right right to make big decisions. This reduces red tapes or bureaucracy. Now make sure to watch the third part. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Like this video if you liked it. Bye bye.